Solar panels of the future, not on a house, but a Missouri highway. Good evening, everyone. I'm Jim Reek.
And I'm Adam Pressler. MoDOT is working on a solar roadways pilot project for sidewalks and roadways. KMUH's Li-Shang Guo joins us in the studio to tell us how this new technology could help drivers.
MoDOT is hoping to install the roadway panels at the Route 66 Welcome Center off Interstate 44 in Conway.
Back in the 80s, when I was driving back and forth to college, sometimes with the rain and the storms, you can't always see the lanes.
Now MoDOT is working with the Federal Highway Administration and a company developing solar panels to help keep Lee and other drivers safe.
They have a vision to create solar panels that we drive on that can create energy, remove snow, and add LED lighting to our roadways.
According to the company Solar Roadways, the new solar panels contain LED lights to create lines and signage without paint. The panels also contain heating elements to prevent snow and ice from building up during cold days.
We, as Missouri, have not increased our investment in transportation for over 20 years, so MoDOT needs to be seeking innovations that possibly could create new revenue streams.
Lee commends MoDOT for trying something different in an attempt to make the roadways better.
This program is something that's going to help save a few lives. That is, that's the perfect place for us to put our money.
Blair says he hopes this roadway can eventually pay for itself, but for now he says there are two ways for the funding. One comes from Federal Highway Administration research funding, and the other way is from the first ever Department of Transportation crowdfunding effort.
You'll now need to take another step if you want to become an Uber driver in Missouri.
It's part of a new insurance policy drivers need when using their personal vehicles for commercial use. KOMU8's Rachel Lee reports the bill will make things easier if there's an accident.
Uber drivers used to not be required to have an insurance policy. Governor Nixon changed that to a $1 million insurance policy after signing a bill this week. The requirements would be between a transportation network company, or TNC, and a TNC driver. Before the law, an accident involving a ride-sharing driver could mean lots of confusion.
You can get in a car also and you can have a driver and you get in there and you get injured. And then all of a sudden you find out the driver is not covered, and then you as a citizen that got in the vehicle, your car insurance doesn't cover it. And all of a sudden there's this gap, like, okay, who covers this?
Parson told me that some insurance companies do not allow a driver to use their personal car for commercial use without additional coverage. Now drivers will have to have their own policy in addition to a larger policy for that commercial use. If there's an accident, it's on the Uber driver's insurance.
A new U.S. Supreme Court ruling brings changes to police and drunk driving stops. Now an officer does not need a warrant to force a breathalyzer test, but the officer does need a warrant for a blood alcohol test. The only exception comes when there's a car crash and police would automatically have consent to give a blood test to a severely injured person. We asked Mothers Against Drunk Driving about the landmark decision.
This is a smart move from the Supreme Court's standpoint. It's a good decision. We think that law enforcement will be able to train themselves, be able to get to the point where they'll be able to still do breath tests without a warrant, blood tests with a warrant.
In Missouri, officers give breathalyzer tests if they believe the driver is drunk. If the driver refuses, their license can be revoked for at least a year. The Highway Patrol will be stepping up patrols on Missouri waterways this weekend. Today marked the beginning of a nationwide push called Operation Dry Water. The national campaign focuses on drunk boating awareness. It started in 2009, and Missouri has joined the effort each year. Last year, troopers stopped more than 1,000 boaters.
I think this has a positive impact. Over the years, we've seen more and more of those designated captains, and we certainly appreciate the public's help in that. But there are still a few of those people that are dragging their feet, and that's what part of these operations are for.
White says historically the last weekend in June has proven to be a very busy time on Missouri lakes and streams.
A Mexico man was sentenced today to more than 500 years behind bars. 40-year-old Darren Boston was found guilty of nearly 30 counts of sexual crimes against children. Those charges included rape, sodomy, child abuse, sexual exploitation of a minor, molestation, endangering the welfare of a child, and possession of child pornography. The judge gave Boston the maximum sentence on each count for a total of 527 years in prison.
The Better Business Bureau is warning Mid-Missouri about a new scam. A Hold Summit business received a phone call from someone pretending to represent Ameren UE. The caller said their service would be disconnected within the hour for non-payment. All-Spec Metal Systems office manager Lori Tweehouse said, quote, after hanging up, I called Ameren's 800 number listed on our account, and they indicated it was a scam. I gave them the information, and they said it's common in the St. Louis area, but not locally. We called Ameren's help number. They did not call back. The Boone County Fire Protection District showed off 10 of its brand new fire trucks today. They replaced trucks that have been in service for 30 years. Firefighters are currently getting trained to use the new equipment.
New trucks were developed and spec'd out by a group of volunteers dedicated to making sure that we provided the best value to our citizens in the community. We've been able to incorporate some new technologies, some new safety features that will be of a great benefit to the local citizens of the community when these trucks go in service.
The trucks were purchased using $5 million of the $14 million bond issue passed in 2014. 6 more trucks should be in service by October.
The City of Columbia is seeing an increase in satisfaction when it comes to residents who call City Hall. According to the State of the City reports from Wednesday, 62% of residents who call City Hall say they feel that they get the help they need right away. This is up from 47% in 2007. The city says creating a new customer contact center has helped these efforts. It cuts more than half of the phone numbers in City Hall, decreasing the amount of time some might be transferred. One resident says talking to a person as opposed to a machine helps solve problems more efficiently.
There's a pretty good staff involved with meeting citizens' needs. If you get to talk to somebody, that can often diffuse a bomb, you know.
The city says it hopes to get down from the 70 phone call lines it currently has to just 1 phone line for everyone to use.
The Highway Patrol reports an increase in cars overheating the past few weeks. Many problems occur because drivers haven't checked their car fluids or batteries since the wintertime. The patrol says the breakdowns cause a safety issue as drivers stand near their car on busy highways. The patrol recommends calling for help and staying in your car if you can keep cool.
Number one priority is safety on the highways, and anytime you have someone stopped along the shoulder, that's a very dangerous place to be. So we want to get an officer out there as quickly as possible so that the traffic can move over away from them. We want to get them on their way as quickly as possible so that they can be safe with their families.
The patrol says call star 55 for help and a trooper will be on the way.
Well, it looks like we could see some rain in the forecast. Let's send it over to Alyssa to see if that's true.
We are seeing some pop-up showers off to the west. They're not lasting too long and are falling, and put on the sunscreen. I'll have your full forecast for you coming up.
Still to come, experts are calling the worst flooding of the century in West Virginia.
Do you give your kids the flu mist or the flu shot? You won't want to miss this story.
It was a gorgeous day today. Looking at our time lapse over Columbia Airport, we saw a lot of sun. We were partly cloudy, but it was still a beautiful day overall. Now, we were a little less hot today than we have in the past few days. Now, most of us still did hit into the 90s and the upper 80s, but overall it felt a lot better outside. Right now, most of us are still trying to hang on to the lower 80s right now. Megan went down to 79 degrees of 80 degrees.
If we can drop from 93 tomorrow to 80 next Thursday, that would be a step in the right direction.
I'd be okay with it.
All right, Alyssa, thank you very much. Here's what's happening right now. At least 14 people in West Virginia have been confirmed dead and hundreds left stranded in what state officials are calling the worst flooding in a century. Hundreds of thousands of people have been affected, entire communities swallowed by the floodwaters. Earlier today, rescue crews began evacuating 500 people who were stranded in a shopping center, and tonight forecasters are warning it could get worse.
Our biggest challenge continues to be high water. Initial reports from our local emergency management officials indicate at least 6 counties have seen extensive structural damage. Early reports indicate more than 100 homes have been seriously damaged or destroyed.
West Virginia's governor has declared a state of emergency in more than 40 counties. Flooding is expected to continue throughout the weekend.
What one organization is doing to help Columbia pets. We have that after the break.
Even though it's very popular, the CDC says it does not support the use of flu mist. A CDC study found children between the ages of 2 and 17 received no protective benefits by using the mist. A Columbia mom says she'll make it a point to stay educated on vaccinations for her new 2-week-old baby boy.
I'm pretty skeptical about the flu shot in general, so I'm not sure on that. But it would be up to me, and I'd definitely get the pediatrician's expert opinion.
The CDC says while the nasal spray is not effective, it strongly recommends getting the flu shot for the upcoming 2016-2017 season.
Tails were wagging today as the Central Missouri Humane Society launched a new community outreach unit. The unit is designed to provide service-like vaccinations to animals in need throughout the city. The team started to plan target areas to help mainly in northern and eastern Columbia, where there is a large population of pet owners. The associate director says there are certain problems that their team wants to address, and local residents agree.
Definitely want to address the community cat issue and overpopulation due to not spaying and neutering both cats and dogs in the community.
It's heartbreaking. Seen too many dogs chained up outside, not getting shelter. They're in the heat, they're in the cold, and that's an issue that needs to be addressed.
The outreach team hopes the results will also cut down on the city's homeless animal population.
Governor Nixon and lawmakers visited the state fairgrounds in Sedalia today. The governor signed 3 agriculture bills and credited lawmakers for their bipartisan efforts. The director of agriculture hopes young Missourians will continue to follow what their parents have done for years.
Agriculture is the #1 industry in the state of Missouri, and if we're going to maintain that ranking, we've got to continue to cultivate leadership in young people. And you know, the Missouri State Fair is a perfect example of how that works really well.
Fordyce says the state fair is a great way for young Missourians to showcase their knowledge of agricultural skills. He added the majority of nearly 8,000 exhibitors at this year's fair will be young farmers.
The Royals beat the Houston Astros in the playoffs last season.
And coming up, we've got highlights of a rematch.
KOMU 8 Sports.
Hello everyone. The Royals returned home to Kauffman Stadium tonight after their series against the New York Mets, looking to relive their memories from October when they beat the Houston Astros in the playoffs. Edinson, that's all for sports.
Conservation workers in Massachusetts are being called heroes after saving a whale. The crew spotted a whale off the coast tangled in fishing rope and buoys. Rescuers were able to eventually free the whale. They used grappling hooks so that anytime the whale tried to swim away, it cut the rope shorter and shorter. And here's what we're following. Breaking news out of Boonville. Police have confirmed a train crashed into a car.
We have a crew at the scene, and we'll have an update on KOMU 8 News at 10 o'clock. Alyssa?
We have chances for rain into late tonight, into early tomorrow morning, but then...
What happened the last time the Royals played the Astros?
They beat them in a clinching Game 5 in the American League Division Series. That's what happened.
What's happening tonight?
Yeah.
Not that, I'll tell you.
Rough one so far.
Not that.
12 to what? 12 to 1?
12 to 2 in the 5th inning.
Ooh.
Alrighty.
Have you noticed the Royals and Cardinals are headed in different paths? When one gets hot, the other one cools off, and then they kind of trade off. They're not both winning at the same time.
Yeah.
All right, that's our time for now. Thanks for joining us.
Have a good night.